This is Heather.
Hmm?
Heather is trying to lose weight. I said, Heather is trying to lose weight. That's better. And this week, she's trying out something new.
Get your muscles ready, guys, because this unboxing is gonna be a beast. Hi, lovely humans. For those of you who are new here, I'm Heather. I am working my keister off, figuratively and literally, to lead a healthy lifestyle. I share everything I learn along the way with you guys, and in the meantime, I test out all of the fitness products I'm using.
Oh la la!
And for the next week, I'll be testing out not only a treadmill, but also a fitness program, both of which are put out by a company called TheRun.
Before we get started, I want to say a huge thank you to the company TheRun for sending me this treadmill. I will say that although I very much appreciate it, all of my opinions in this video are my own and my own only. I do not have an incline treadmill, or at least I didn't until today. I do have a walking pad, and while I have very much enjoyed it, courtesy of some issues I had with my foot over the last few years, I find that walking long distances is something that I really struggle with. And so what I wanted to try to do, if I can open this, they really tape this thing good. But what I want to try and do is see if I can do some shorter walks, but on an incline treadmill so I can still get a good intensity of workout, even if my foot doesn't let me walk for quite as long. If you do decide based on the video that this is a good fit for you as treadmills go, it will be linked in the description box. As you saw from me struggling in the beginning, this is definitely a very heavy piece of equipment, so make sure that you have someone to help you, or just be very, very careful with your body mechanics when you're getting it inside the house. In terms of the specs for this treadmill, I will make sure to have pictures on screen of the dimensions so you can plan and see if it actually fits in your living room. I will say this is one of the more storage-friendly options. It does actually fold up instead of having to pretty much stay on the ground all the time like the walking pad does. The trade-off between, say, a treadmill versus the walking pad is sometimes the walking pads can slide underneath your furniture, but you're going to have to lug them back out, whereas the treadmill is going to be a lot easier to just fold up and keep it wherever you want. The version that I got is orange. It has a 300-pound weight capacity, which as treadmills go isn't too bad. It does have some shock absorption features, which I think are really important, especially if you are a runner, or in my case, just a hearty body. And for the incline, it goes up to 12%. This thing definitely came pretty well packed. Lots of styrofoam, lots of things bagged up so they're not scraping each other. I think the hardest part is going to be figuring out how on earth to get this thing out of the box. Especially because I'm stubborn and every single time I do these videos, it's like, have 2 people, team assist required. And I'm like, stubborn party of 1. If you do have to pull this out solo, what I would recommend is making sure that you have all of the staples out of this part so you don't scrape anything. Find a solid bar and just glide it out as best you can. Notice I was pushing with my legs, not pulling with my back. Same thing here. Shift your weight forward. I'm not actually pushing that hard. I'm just trying to shift on my legs. Oh, maybe don't drop it like that. Slide a little more. We got all of the plastic wrap and protection off of it, and my living room looks like an absolute train wreck. But I was pleased to find that for the most part, it's mostly assembled. I was really concerned that I was going to have to like put the belt on myself and try to be an engineer, and I am not one, so there would have been a lot of cursing and me being frustrated and maybe not even reviewing this at all, but thank God it actually came mostly assembled. The only things you have to really add are what looks like the footings, 2 wheels, the things with which to attach all of those pieces, and instructions, which, unlike my usual self, I'm going to actually read because I want to make sure this thing doesn't fall apart underneath me while I'm moving.
The first step is to angle the console upright and attach it, and then have a war with the washers that you can't pick up with your fake nails.
Dang it!
I had to improvise because it was not working. Each side has 2 different bolts that you have to add on to secure the console. To make sure that you are able to put the 2 bolts in on top, just make sure that it's at the right angle to where they go in smoothly. Put them in by hand to start them, and then of course you can tighten them up.
For the next part, we're going to install the little wheels. It took me a minute to understand what the instructions meant, but there's the head of the bolt, right? That part needs to be facing outside rather than towards the machine. We lift this part until we hear the click, and we screw it in right here. Anytime you have 2 bolts or 2 screws to put in, I wouldn't fully tighten one. I would do like partial on one, partial on the other, and then tighten them up, just to be on the safe side so you don't have a war on your hands in case you didn't line it up right. The last step is to put on the covers over each of the little end plates to make sure that you're not bashing yourself on any metal. If you ever are having issues with your belt not being centered, these bolts right here, those are what you adjust to make the belt go to the left or the right, and the little foot plate that you're going to slide over it has the instructions for which way to go. So on the off chance you lose your actual manual, it's still on there and you don't have to stress about it.
Pretty smart.
Belts getting crooked over time, as well as needing to be oiled, is standard practice with both treadmills and walking pads. Just think of it as something that you do for maintenance to make sure that your machine's going to work for a very long time. If you take the time to invest in a quality piece of equipment, you want to make sure that you are keeping it in good condition. If you're trying to slide this on and it just doesn't seem like it's going, it's just not lined up right with the grooves. You should be able to see the spot for where you put the screws in on the bottom. Just slide it up and down until you get it. It'll be fine. And according to the instructions, when you're ready to bring it back down, you have your hands both on either side. You lift up ever so slightly. This bar under here, you're supposed to push in. It says kick in. Yeah, just a little baby kick. Nothing dramatic. Don't go all Karate Kid. Oh, that's kind of neat. It lowers on its own. Bonus points for not having to murder your back. Okay. I'm still going to have my hand underneath just in case it catches or something. If it seems like it gets stuck halfway, give it a little baby push. Otherwise, just go back up and back down. It just lowered fine. I was like, did I break it? No, it's fine. It just goes slow and steady.
Ma'am, I'm trying to read some instructions here. You're really not helping.
Yeah, we need to talk about this instruction manual because it is amazing. Out of the bajillion different pieces of equipment that I have tried over the years, this one hands down has the most comprehensive user manual I have ever seen. Not only does it provide you with 5 different programs in here that you can do for customized workouts, but it also gives you both a warm-up and a cool down and goes very, very in detail about anything that you might need to know as someone who is either new to exercise or new specifically to running. They literally cover everything from your breathing, the frequency, how fast you're running, and even how you should be positioning yourself on the treadmill, including how your foot is hitting the treadmill while you're running. It is so in-depth and I am genuinely impressed at this. You can really tell that they put effort into designing this. It's not just a bunch of gibberish that makes no sense. The challenge that I will be doing while testing out this treadmill is going to be TheRun's program for the glute and leg sculptor. This program is designed to be used over the course of 6 weeks and normally intended to be used 3 times a week.
The idea behind the glute and leg sculptor program is to really hit those glutes hard by gradually increasing both your speed and the incline until you really reach the max of what you can take, and then to gradually decrease it back down, pyramid style.
Now I'm testing this treadmill out over the course of 7 days. So what I'm going to be doing is instead of 3 times a week, I'm going to be doing this every single day for 7 days, unless of course I actually need a rest day in there because I'm also fairly active. I go to the gym to weight train 3 days a week and I work my butt off in the garden. So I want to make sure I'm not overdoing it and getting injured. But in that 7-day time span, I should definitely be able to tell you guys if I'm starting to see any results as well as how the machine itself works.
As for the before shots, I am an overweight woman. I've got a belly, hips, and thighs. I also have lipedema, so I have somewhat of an irregular fat distribution in my legs. And like most of the ladies in the population, I have cellulite. That's right, it's normal. Be nice to yourself. As the Run company was dedicated enough to include both a warm-up and a cool-down in their instruction manual, I wanted to make sure to at least review the warm-up because it was the most thorough of the two.
So I wanted to wait until I had done the warm-up exercises for a few days to actually give y'all some feedback on what I think. Today I'm sore because I did leg day at the gym yesterday, so I was like, okay, I definitely cannot skimp out on the warm-up exercises because I really don't want to get injured when I'm already sore. And honestly, I was kind of on the fence with the warm-up until then. I do feel like, yes, there's some more things you could add to it, but overall, it's not just static stretches, it's a little bit more of dynamic movements to kind of like slowly lubricate your joints and get your muscles a little more used to movement. And I already feel less sore just from having done the warm-up. I'm not even on the treadmill yet. So I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the 0.5 missing is only because they could probably add like 1 or 2 more things for hip mobility, but honestly, not bad. For those of you guys who are regular runners, in the comments, I would love to know what you think of this warm-up, and on the off chance you're not a fan of it, I would love to know what you actually do for your warm-ups, just to make sure we're covering all our bases. First things first, this should always be clipped to you. Heaven forbid you fall off. You don't want it to end up right down your face or something. Day 1, we're going to attempt the glute and leg sculptor. Whenever you're ready, you hit start. It'll give you a countdown, and then it starts at the lowest speed, which is 0.5. At that point, I'm ready to do my warm-up, which is supposed to be 5 minutes at 3.5 miles an hour. Okay, this is insanely fast. Holy crap. I have a feeling that the glute and leg sculptor is supposed to be in running, because I don't know how fast running is. But geez. Small update via the phone. 3.5 almost took me the frick out. So we are going to adjust this to where the glute program is still the same incline, but the speeds are going to have to be lower because I am not about to kill myself running on this thing.
For the Run's Glute and Leg Sculptor program, you start with 5 minutes going 4 miles an hour at 8% incline. Then you are going to bump that up to another 5 minutes of 4.5 miles an hour at 10% incline. And then you hit the top of the pyramid, the beast mode, which is going to be 5 miles an hour at 12% incline for a whopping 10 minutes. Then you're going to work your way back down the pyramid with the same settings, 5 minutes each. And for the cool down, you're going to do 10 minutes of backwards walking at 2 miles an hour and 5% incline.
We're at the 8%. That's actually a pretty good incline. I'm pretty impressed for a home treadmill that this can go that high. And if you're not sure how steady you are on it, use the handlebars, people. There's nothing wrong with that. I can already feel the burn in my butt. We're at the 10-minute mark. It's time to go up to 10% incline. It's still nice and smooth. I'm huffing and puffing just at the 2.5 speed, so I'm going to stick with 2.5 because while I would love to try it exactly as the manual options say, I'm also not trying to get injured. Anytime you use a new piece of equipment, remember that sometimes you got to build up to it. Whew. I made it to 13 minutes. And I had to bump the speed down to 2 because holy crap, I'm dying. I don't even sweat when I lift weights that much, but I'm like already dripping at 13 minutes. I'm gonna try it at the 12% incline that would normally be the stage 3 at 15 minutes, but at a much slower speed just to see how it feels. Oh, 12's not that bad. It does feel right now like it's catching a little bit on the belt, like it's a shoop, shoop, shoop. I'm wondering if I need to oil it. I made it to 20 minutes and that was including the cool down. Safe to say, completely failed at the quads program as someone who just normally walks. I'm feeling it in my abs, my back. Not actually feeling it too hard in my feet or my legs, but definitely feeling it a little bit in my butt. I'm pooped and I need water. It is day 2 and I definitely still want to have some sort of program that's going to target those glutes, but I have acknowledged that I am most definitely not at expert level yet, so I am modifying the program that they have.
If you're looking forward to trying this treadmill made by TheRun and you want to do their glute program, but you're like me and you're somewhere in between beginner and intermediate, please feel free to screenshot this modified version so you have a place to start while you build your strength up.
Now, for those of you who are runners, don't worry, I still got you covered with the glute program and how it feels to someone who actually runs on a regular basis. This is Gabe.
Hi.
Gabe is my lovely friend who, unlike me, is actually in shape. And he has been kind enough to agree to come over and test out the glute and leg sculptor program as an actual runner to tell us what he thinks. How far do you normally run?
Maybe 3 miles on the daily. On the weekends, I'll do like 6 miles.
Okay, I would die, which is why he's doing this program instead. It's kind of cool because from the front you can actually see that the shocks are working.
I'm so happy because I'm a gummy bear, gummy bear.
And we've progressed to 4.5 miles an hour at 10% incline. How you doing so far?
Good.
I would have fallen off the treadmill by now. We're moving into final boss mode at 5 miles an hour at 12% incline. Are your calves burning yet?
Yeah.
Courtesy of the power of Gabe's running, the shocks on the treadmill were working super hard, and frankly, my plants on the table behind him were hanging on for dear life.
But look at that effort, that majestic beast.
Even though Gabe is in excellent physical shape, trying to do 10 minutes straight of 5 miles an hour at 12% incline definitely started to get to him. He started having to use the arm supports a little bit, and gradually I noticed that he had to start slowing down. He bumped the speed down from 5 miles an hour to 4.5 miles an hour and was able to finish out the top level of the pyramid and then start working his way back down to the lower levels.
So we're on the bottom portion of the pyramid. How are you feeling?
It's kicking my ass.
So it's reminding you of the importance of cardio. Sweat check! And here's your rag.
Thank you.
All right, you survived. Now you just got to get through the cool down. So you got it down to your 2 miles an hour and 5% incline, but you got to do it backwards. Oh, ballsy. Took the little clippy thing off. Just don't bust your butt. You got it? As you almost fall over. I'm not clip this back to you just in case.
Okay.
Don't go falling, but just in case. Is it hard to go that speed for the cool down?
It actually is.
It's so weird because it's like a cool down, but murderous instead.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. I was thinking you were gonna like turn around and hit stop. You just like threw yourself off. All right, so you survived.
Barely, but yeah.
Everything, including yourself, is appropriately sweaty, so we know it worked well. Okay, so what did you think of the actual glute program?
It was definitely intense, especially when it got towards that 10 minutes. But what was it? The 12?
Yeah, it's like 12 incline at 5 miles an hour, which I have yet to be able to do 12 incline at any miles an hour for 10 minutes.
And then, I would, I guess, consider myself just a normal runner. I don't do marathons or anything, but definitely it's a good workout.
So in terms of the level, would you say it's an appropriate level at all the speeds it was at for, say, like a normal runner, or is it like too hardcore?
For a normal runner, yes. Although towards the end, whenever it was the backwards, the 2 miles per hour was a bit much because I kept almost sliding off.
Okay.
I think 1.5 is perfect.
So what did you think of the treadmill?
I think for the size, I like that it's compact. You can kind of put it up and put it up discreetly. I think if you're taller or if you have longer legs like I do,
For reference.
I am 6 foot.
Really?
Hmm?
All right. Well, I guess I feel taller than I thought I used to be because okay.
But definitely I had to crouch a little bit at times, and then
Was it mostly just when it was inclined, or was it
Yes.
even just a regular?
Regular a little bit, but at incline I definitely had to crouch sometimes if you kind of need to take a breath for a second. Also, the length of it, I think if you have longer legs, my shoes kept hitting the actual plastic part of the treadmill.
I had that problem yesterday too. I think it's kind of just the trade-off for the compact size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take kind of thing, but I think overall it's a good little workout machine.
I noticed, like, from the front, I think I got snippets of it in there where it actually looked like, it would kind of bounce up and down with you as shock absorption. Did it feel like you were actually getting good shock absorption, or did it feel the same as like if you were running on cement?
Definitely there was some shock absorbent. I've been on treadmills where literally it's like
And just smacking the crap out of yourself.
I mean, this was a little better than some machines.
I know you also would run when you're at the gym. We both go to the same gym, so we get to be like gym buddies. Whenever you're at the gym, I know you use their treadmill too, and that one obviously is going to be like multiple thousands of dollars. How much difference did you notice between, say, like the crazy expensive one and what we call probably like a midline option?
I think the more expensive ones, since they're more bulkier, there's a lot more to hold on to.
Okay.
And I mean, it's easier to maneuver if you're taller and longer legs.
Okay.
But what was the question?
How to tell we both have ADHD? No, it's okay. You actually answered it. It sounds like basically kind of what you noticed is the same thing I noticed. So with my feet, I would also kind of bonk them yesterday a little bit on the little plastic parts there, just here and there. But that's going to be the trade-off if you want one that's a little bit more compact at home. I wouldn't say it's so bad that it's like about to take you out while you're on the treadmill, because that would be a huge safety issue. It just makes a squawk here and there.
Oh, yeah.
Did it feel like the belt was moving nice and smoothly for you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because the day one, I forgot to mention this, it felt like it caught a little bit on my left leg, but I think that was actually just me walking funny, because today it was fine and
Just like
it's fine.
user error.
Yeah, I was just like, my leg's not working. Well, thank you for your runner's expertise, because it is literally called TheRun, so someone has to run on it, because my fluffy self is not. Thank you so much. Oh, that was the other thing. So, are you still going to go to the gym after this like you planned?
Probably not.
Appropriately slaughtered?
I'm gonna go home to my dear husband and lay on the couch.
That's fair. I'm still recuperating on the couch. While he was running, I was recuperating on the couch from this morning, because that was enough for me. We finally got around to doing the third day of exercise, and I just wanted to share something that I kind of figured out. If you are on the taller side, or say have rather large shoe size, or just take really big strides when you're walking, and you've noticed that anytime you're on a treadmill, you tend to kind of hit the plastic part at the front, instead of kind of holding up here towards the front, if you have your hands at the back, it helps to position you in just a better spot where you're not in anywhere near as much danger of whacking yourself on the plastic. That's for those of you who are walking. If you are running, a lot of this is going to vary depending on how long a stride you take while running. But you can also just kind of keep track, like, okay, my hips are pretty much almost at the back of the bar and a smidge behind. So if you keep your positioning right, you still get the awesome benefit of like, okay, I have a more compact treadmill that I can fold up as needed and doesn't take as much space, but I don't have to worry about tripping over my own feet if I accidentally hit the plastic.
Full disclosure, I totally forgot we were supposed to be doing backwards walking for the cool down the first few days, so I wanted to make sure to fix this and do it right this time.
Oh, holy crap. Okay. 1.5 is way too fast for me. I'm going to bust my butt. We're going to 1.3. Okay, that's still weird, but better. It is now day 4, and I am exhausted because I have worked outside all day. I am already at 16,000 steps for the day. But I am doing my program. I'm just modifying it slightly so that my legs don't become noodles in the morning. And y'all, it is okay if you need to modify your workout programs so that you don't drop dead from exhaustion, because let's be honest, your exercises are not the only things that are going on in your life, and sometimes the days are just crazy. Which reminds me, there's one thing that I want to make sure you guys know so that you do not get injured while using this machine on an incline. I'm tired, right? So today, level 12 is going to be kind of hard. When I'm going on level 12, I'm having to hang on to the handlebars, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but I am leaning back ever so slightly. I see this a lot at the gym when people are going a little bit too hard. Rather than them being upright and walking at the level that they're actually at, they're leaning back and basically making their back compensate because the level is too hard for them. So bump down the incline until you're a little bit stronger. And if you're having to lean all the way back, that's your tip off. I moved it down to 8. And now I can actually handle this incline while being upright instead of pulling on my arms and back.
For day 5, while Belle focused on getting her exercise in with her toy on the floor, I focused on getting my steps in on the treadmill. And I have to say, it was finally starting to feel like walking on the treadmill is just one of the things that I do every day, even on the days straight after work where I was absolutely not in the mood. I also finally was kind of getting the hang of doing the backwards walking without nearly falling off the treadmill, though I will say, be very, very cautious when you do that part of the cool down.
7-day challenge complete.
Changes were small because it was only a week, but I do feel like my shorts were a little bit looser. I was able to wear them a little bit higher and they were being eaten less by my thighs. I don't feel like there was a giant definition difference in my legs themselves, but it was kind of nice to notice the midsection and thighs be a little slimmer. I've always wanted to have really toned legs, which is kind of impossible with lipedema, but it's nice to see an itty bitty bit of definition in my calf and then see like the babyest line from the side. It's kind of exciting even though it's a small change.
So after a week of using both this treadmill by TheRun and their glute program, I have some thoughts. It was about a week and a half if you factor in the rest days, but it gave me enough time to kind of figure out, okay, is this worth it or is it not? As for the glute program itself, I'm going to say yes, it is a great program with the caveat that the difficulty level is definitely set to advanced only. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars, simply because ideally you want to have a program that everyone at every level can do. I of course have the modified program that I listed in the chapters below, but I do actually think that the structure of the program itself is a good one. I like that it elevates, really targets both your glutes, your legs, and your heart, because that is a muscle too. So you get to work towards your peak and then gradually work it back down. Now, as for the treadmill itself, that one I would give 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is a phenomenal product. It is honestly great quality. I think they did a very good job with making sure that the belt is sturdy. The display itself is a thing of beauty. Not only was the display fairly large, I feel like it was very clear and just a high quality look as a whole. And frankly, that instruction manual, chef's kiss, absolutely worth it. They did not do the weird plastic cupping framing like my walking pad has. I have 4 cats, y'all. You know how much cat fur gets in this house and consequently gets scooped up in that little end pocket? It makes me crazy. They instead have it set up to where any bits that fall on top of the belt just kind of glide right off, which makes it so much easier to keep clean, and long term is going to keep it in good condition. This is what I'd call about a midline trampoline. It's not going to be as crazy expensive as some of the ones that are like $5,000. So there of course is the trade-off that it is slightly smaller, but if you live in a smaller area, that is actually not a bad thing since it has the perk of being able to fold up. The only reason I didn't give it the last like 0.5 stars is simply because it is not going to be designed for everyone. If you are over 6 feet tall, I'm sorry, but this is not the one for you. The belt is going to be a little bit too short and a little bit more on the narrow side compared with some of the more expensive versions. What I do like is that TheRun is very proactive with this. They know that not everyone is going to be 5'7" like me, and they do have a different model of treadmill. It is a little bit more advanced, but it has a wider belt and a longer belt, and I will link that one in the description box below for all of my tall people out there. Now, the treadmill that I reviewed for this video sells regularly for $359.99 on Amazon, and they have been, for at least the last few months, part of Amazon's Better Brand promotions, which try to say that 5 times fast. But what that means is that aside from being regularly advertised, they are also really good about having 10% off sales, so keep your eyes peeled and I'll have it linked just in case. I also think they did a really good job designing the shocks. I love that I wasn't left with any pain in my feet or knees after using this, even as a larger woman. So 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'd say if you want a treadmill, go for it. I loved getting to review this thing and the glute program, even though it kicked my butt. I guess literally. I would love to know in the comments below what you guys think I should review next, and I will see you lovely, lovely humans next time. Bye bye!